Well, if it isn't Philo Vance.
I beg your pardon?
Who said that?
I haven't seen you since you solved the Kennel Murder Case. How are you?
Well, for the love of... Nick Charles, what are you doing up there? Impersonating a book cover?
Shh. I'm working on a case. Don't tell me you've gone back to detective work. I thought you had turned respectable. Didn't you get married? Oh, didn't I? Vance, I married a girl in $1 million.
I heard it was a girl with $1 million.
Well, the same thing. I've become a California gentleman.
I never heard of such a thing. What are you doing here in New York?
Well, it seems that Clark Gable is making some personal appearances here, which interests my wife. And there's a very good bar at the Ritz, which is all right with me. So we popped into town to play. But would you believe it? Before you could say Metro Golden Mare, I stepped right into the middle of a baffling murder mystery, and they put me to work.
Well, you poor fellow, you have my deepest sympathy.
I can use it. Believe me, Vance, this case is a toughie. It all revolves about a tall, thin man. I was standing at the bar of the Ritz one day, reaching for an olive, when a very pretty girl suddenly popped up in front of me and said,
Hello there.
Hello. Another glass. How are you?
You know, we do know each other.
Certainly, we've known each other for years.
Aren't you Nick Charles?
Yes?
You don't remember me. I'm Dorothy Wynant.
How is your father?
Oh, that's what I came to ask you. He's disappeared. Chris, what are you going to do?
Just what I said I'd do.
Chris, you wouldn't do that. Nicky.
Automatically...
Nicky, put Asta in here with me tonight.
Oh, yeah?
That knife's missing. I'll look for it in your back.
It's about Julia Wolfe.
Did you kill her?
Gilbert.
Well, why not? You had a perfectly good motive.
How'd you like to have a couple of little murderers for your children?
And maybe I haven't been on a merry-go-round since that day. Are you, anywhere near a solution? Between you and me, I think so. I got all the suspects together at a dinner party. And then I pulled a fast one. I told them...
And the murderer is right here in this room tonight. He's sitting here at this table.
Are you sure that the murderer is one of that group? Not absolutely. But I know where to find out.
Where?
Right in there. Now, you watch me. I'm going to dissolve slowly into this book. And if you'll stand by, I'll give you the answer.
Seems to have begun at just about the exact date you arrived here to settle down.
In the last 3 weeks, 2 murders have occurred in our city.
And you have been connected with each of them.
We're being laughed at by every other city on the coast.
You know, we could mean something to each other. Really? The 5,000 didn't mean so much to you.
Maybe. After I've cleared up a couple of murders, you and I could have a lot of fun.
Isn't that something really worth working for?
Certainly nice of you to cut me in on this. But if that trumpet's really rammed full of jewels, it'll be worth plenty. It'll cost you much more than $5,000 to get it from me.
I said, that's a pretty rotten trick, old boy. That's not cricket.
How much of this is cricket and how much is racket? What are you doing here?
Would you mind very much, Mr. Shane, taking off your hat in the presence of a lady with a gun? So you're the man I hired to protect me.
The various killings were all the young lady's fault.
Oh, nonsense.
Nonsense? Listen, Mr. Shane.
So you have it all figured out, have you?
Certainly. You crossed Travers in Hong Kong. You double-crossed Espinosa, and then you triple-crossed poor Pharaoh.
It is my duty to find the guilty person and bring him to justice. And I will spare no one. Get Lieutenant Taylor. Send in the civilians under suspicion at once.
Enter and identify yourselves.
Lieutenant Robert Taylor.
Jean Parker. Una Merkel.
Gene Hirschhold. Misha Auer.
Key Luke.
At your service, sir.
Okay, Cappy.
Healy, you're my pal. I know you didn't do it.
Okay, Pendleton. Sorry I can't say the same for you.
Huh?
The people under suspicion are aboard, sir.
For the first time in history, there's been murder in the fleet. I'm going to recall to you some of the circumstances that happened on board this ship today. We are going to find the guilty persons. You will remember that,
That's a bullet wound. This man's been shot. Murdered.
Give me that. It's mine. Give it to me.
I saw her trying to hide her purse.
It's mine. I'm not denying it. I would have shot him, too.
Who said the $50 bill is no good?
The bank said it's no good. They said it's Confederate money and hasn't been good for years.
Well, certainly it's Confederate money. It's good if the South has another war and wins.
You let me go. Now, come in here. You can't pin these two murders on me.
You have your job to do. Do it. Oh, but darling, please, please be careful.
You don't know what you're doing. Does he, boys? No! Oh, you don't know what you're doing. That ball run that you flew in makes such a big noise it's driving us insane.
Huh? What's that? What's that?
Oh, it isn't even funny. Give us something for our money. For the only thing you give us is a pain. A great big pain.
You're all just jealous.
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 You're all on a spree. It's gone to your head. Oh, go sit on the tack. If you knew what we were thinking.
I'm down, you've all been drinking.
Says you.
Says me.
Says who?
Says me.
Oh, you don't know what you do at all.
biggest show we have ever held with nearly twice as many dogs benched as last year. Refreshments are being served at the marquee at the west end of the ground. Griffons ready in ring number 2. Next event, number 729. Tallies bred by exhibitors. Have your dogs ready. Quiet, please, during the judging. Attention, please. Judging in ring 1. Event number 728. Scottish Terriers, American bred dogs. Great Danes in ring number 2. Great Scots in ring number 1. This is number 292, Captain McTavish, shown by the owner, the well-known fancier, Mr. Philo Vance, whose kennel comprises some of the finest campaigners in America.
That's fine, Mr. Dale. Now smile, please. Cup to your right. That's great.
Sorry, boys, but these are not trophies.
Hold it. Hold it right there. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mind if we go now? I can stand one dog, but this bedlam is getting on my nerves.
Don't be impatient, darling.
We'd have plenty of time for dinner.
Hold it down.
2.5. Show. Event number 728. The blue ribbon won by Gillespie of Heatherstone. Dundee Deviler is runner-up, and Midlothian Gentleman receives the special. Better luck next time, Mr. Vance.
Don't be downhearted, Captain. You're still champion with me. Maybe we'll have better luck in Italy, huh?
Tough luck, Vance. I was hoping to have the pleasure of meeting you tomorrow.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Cole. Perhaps you'll get stiffer competition from Sir Thomas MacDonald.
Perhaps.
Want to borrow Misty Morn for a second?
But, Miss Lake, you know Mr. Hart, you don't want Eamon to bully his dog.
Come along and protect him if you like.
That's enough, Sir Thomas. I wouldn't take off another whisk.
I think you're right, Sandy.
Get ready. Hold it. Thanks. There you are, Gilly, laddie.
Hello, Hilda.
Hello, Tom.
Well, what's the idea?
Thought we'd do a little private judging.
I don't imagine your uncle would particularly approve of this.
I'm sure he wouldn't. Hold him a minute, Sandy. Let's take a good look at him.
All right.
Come on, I'll see.
What me tail?
Well, what do you think?
I think it's a pretty close thing. I'm not worried. Eh, Sandy?
I think you're better safe, sir.
Here we are, sir.
What the devil do you think you're doing, Hilda?
Well,
How do you do? How do you do, sir?
I just wanted to prove that you're going to lose money to Tom when these two get into the ring tomorrow.
And have you proved it to your satisfaction?
So much so that I want you to loan me $1,000 to place on Gilly.
Hilda. That's cheek for you. Wants to bet against me with $1,000 of my own money.
I wasn't asking you for your money. I merely want you to loan me some of mine.
As long as I control the purse strings, you're not going to do any betting against me. You'll be grateful that I've saved a few thousands of your fortune someday. But don't raise your hopes too high, Hilda. Bring that dog out here.
I shouldn't let him worry you, my dear.
You knew how I hate him, Tom. Things he's done to me. I despise him.
Darling.
Now, let's see. Where did I put that? Ah, there it is. Unsolved murders. You know, I almost forgot it. I wouldn't have been able to sleep a wink tonight, wondering who murdered who and why. How any intelligent man can read that drivel is beyond me, Brisbane. What time does that Chicago train go? 5 o'clock. Well, it's 4:15. Oh, you've got plenty of time. Yes, I know, but I want to get out of here before Archie gets home.
Good afternoon, sir. Afternoon. Is my brother at home?
Yes, sir. He's upstairs.
Tell him I want to see him.
Yes, sir. Your taxi's waiting, sir.
All right, there's the bag. Did you get those reservations?
Yes, sir. And Mr. Archer told me to tell you he wants to see you, sir.
Oh, he did, eh? You tell him I don't want to see him. Tell him I said so.
In those words, sir?
Exactly. Unless you can think of something stronger.
Yes, sir.
Of course, it's none of my business, Brisbane. But I wouldn't talk that way in front of Gamble. I don't trust him.
I just couldn't resist it. I'd like to see the look on Archer's face when he tells him.
I wouldn't.
How the deuce can you stand it here? Why, there wouldn't be enough money in the world to compensate me for being Archer Coe's secretary.
Oh, he's not as bad as all that. Say, you better be getting along.
There's such a thing as carrying loyalty too far. Don't forget, I overheard a few of his choice remarks to you when you dared suggest that you were in love with Hilda and wanted to marry her.
I'm afraid you're taking Archer a little too seriously, old man.
Did you deliver my message?
I thought it best to wait till you were safely away, sir.
Do you mind dropping me off? I have an engagement with Hilda for dinner.
Come ahead, come ahead.
All aboard! Albany Express, Stamford, Bridgeport, New London, New Haven, Westerly, Providence, Boston.
Here is Sir Thomas MacDonald New.
What's the matter, Sandy?
Something terrible's happened, sir. Gilly's gone.
What?
And I cannot find him. They've taken him off the bench, sir.
Well, he couldn't have got loose. He didn't break that lock himself either.
I haven't been away from that dog for 10 minutes all day, sir. I just went into the restaurant to get a wee sandwich, and when I come back, he was gone.
Sir Thomas?
Yes?
I think we found him, sir.
Where?
Out in the alley, sir.
This way, sir. Gilly. He's dead. Oh.
I'll kill the man who did this.
Listen, Tom, you mustn't do anything until you're sure, please.
I've got my own ideas.
Oh, I know Uncle Archer's mean and cruel, but I can't believe he'd do a thing like this.
Hello? I'm sorry, but Mr. Archer Coe isn't here. Your dog dead? Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I'll try to locate him at once.
Go away from me, you. Get out of here. Get out.
I suspected it when I saw you together this afternoon. You're nothing but a two-timing...
Get out of my apartment. Get out.
From now on, it is your apartment. All yours. I'm getting out for good.
Ah, Mr. Coe. My dear friend,
Yes, I see you are.
Pardon?
Yes.
Oh, I am, how do you say it, tanto allegro. I came to see you. I received a cable from Milan authorizing me to complete the deal for your Chinese collection and confirming the price of $117,000.
Means decorations and all that sort of thing from a very grateful government, I suppose.
Oh, un momento.
But it's no good now, of course. I've changed my mind.
Oh, but you have promised me. You can't go back on your word. What will I tell my people? What will I say?
Pity you didn't think of this before. You might have been a little more discreet, eh, Grassy?
But you have signed a contract with me.
Too bad for you. It's still at my home, in my safe.
Oh, but you will.
Most certainly destroy it. Tonight. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you Miss Delafield for nothing.
Hey, Liang. At it again, eh?
I was led to believe that a cook's place is in the kitchen. The next time I
I have been expecting my dismissal, Mr. Cole. We have served our purpose, these priceless treasures and I. I overheard Mr. Reed saying you were preparing to sell this whole collection.
You've been listening at the keyhole, have you?
You cannot sell them, Mr. Cole. Do you think I would have dishonored my ancestors, perjured my soul, cheated my own countrymen to acquire these for you? Had I not believed that you would reverence them as I do?
That's the worst of your race, a pack of mawkish sentimentalists about your ancestors. I don't need you tonight. Go on, get out.
I would suggest you consider most carefully before you sell.
Cole. Mr. Cole. Breakfast, Mr. Cole. Breakfast. Mr. Reed! Mr. Reed! Mr. Reed!
What is it, Gamble?
Mr. Cole, Mr. Archer Cole has killed himself.
Killed himself? When? How?
He's sitting in there like, and the door's bolted.
You're positive?
Yes, sir. In his bedroom.
Phone the police.
Yes, sir. Hello? Give me police headquarters, quick.
Homicide, Sergeant Miller speaking. Now, wait a minute, I don't get you. Take it easy.
All right, let me get it.
Suicide.
Suicide?
Wait a minute, you're not going to run out on this hand.
Yep. Who? Archer Cole, 98 East 71st Street. Okay, I got you.
Is that it, Sergeant?
Yeah.
Well, goodbye, Ernest.
Sergeant, heed to you, Cub. Kick in with that 6 bits.
Oh, relax, will you?
This is your case, Sergeant. You better get the boys out.
98 71st Street?
That's right.
All right, come on, Snip.
Tell Dr. Amos to hurry right out to 98 East 71st Street.
Did you say east, Sergeant?
East, yes.
I got it.
Daily Mail? Give me a city desk.
Calling car 18, car 18.
Oh, times? Charlie Adler.
98 East 71st Street.
Last night, Archer Cole committed suicide.
Proceed immediately and call your station for instructions.
Higher and warmer with lights and moderate winds for New York vicinity today and tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
And now for the latest news flashes. Archer Cole, the well-known sportsman and collector, committed suicide last night at his home, 98 East 71st Street. His body was discovered by the butler at 8 this morning when he took up a breakfast tray. No reason has been advanced for this action as Mr. Cole was in excellent health and had no financial trouble. No news has been received from the crew of the...
Is the land phone still connected? Yes, sir. But it will be disconnected in about 2 minutes, sir.
I see.
Hello? Hello, Markham.
Hello, Vance. I thought you were on your way to Italy.
I am. Well, I say, Markham, I just heard about Archer Cole.
Yes, too bad he had to bump himself off like that.
That's why I called you. Are you sure that he did bump himself off?
Well, his butler tells us he's sitting in a locked room with a revolver in his hand and a bullet in his head. I don't know what else you'd call him.
I don't want to butt into your affairs, but aren't you a bit hasty in jumping to that conclusion?
Hasty? Why?
Well, if you knew Archer Cole, you would know that suicide is almost a psychological impossibility for him.
Psychological bosh. 2 and 2 make 4, don't they?
But how do you know you have 2 and 2? Just let me point out to you.
Oh, point out the Statue of Liberty. Say, Vance.
Hello? Hello? The land phone has been disconnected, sir. Oh. Will you have my luggage brought up? Yes, sir. Steward,
Just have them send it ashore. I've decided not to sail.
Sir?
Vance, you've been right about a lot of cases in the past, but I can't help smiling at you getting off that boat and giving up a swell trip, all because of a hunch.
As a matter of fact, Markham, more than a hunch.
Huh?
It just so happens that I talked with Archer Coe only yesterday.
What?
Where? The Long Island Kennel Club. You know, I can't conceive of a man on the verge of suicide being very deeply concerned over winning a championship at a dog show, can you?
No. What do you mean?
Simply this. As late as yesterday afternoon, Archer Coe was looking forward with the keenest anticipation to winning a blue ribbon from Sir Thomas MacDonald today.
Sir Thomas MacDonald. Say, wasn't it his dog that was found dead last night?
Right.
And Archer Coe found dead this morning. You suppose there might be some connection there?
I don't know. But if someone were to try to kill Captain McTavish, I'd probably turn murderer myself, wouldn't I, Captain?
Hello, Mr. Markham. I got your message to hold everything up. What's the idea? Hello, Mr. Vance.
Good morning, Sergeant.
Well, it's been a long time.
Several years.
I might have known it would be you, the world's champion troubleshooter.
Come on, boys.
Come inside. Well, Chief, this is another just open and shut case. Mr. Reed, the secretary. This is Gamble, the butler.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Markham, the district attorney.
How do you do, sir?
And, Mr. Vance.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Everything just as it was?
Well, they said they haven't touched anything.
We thought it best to leave everything intact, sir.
Good. Where's the room?
Upstairs.
This way, please.
You've been in Mr. Coe's service long?
About 3 months, sir.
And before that?
Why, unfortunately, I was unemployed, sir.
This is it, sir.
Yep, he's there, all right.
Just like I told the police on the phone. I tried the door, found it locked, looked through the keyhole, and there he was, dead.
I think this is a job for you, Sergeant.
Certainly, Mr. Vance. Well, Hennessy, what are you standing there for? Your health? This takes beef.
All right.
Congratulations, Sergeant.
What is this, a bedroom or a museum? More junk here than in a Chinese josh house.
I trust I did the right thing, sir, by not breaking down the door. I realized I could be of no help to him.
Oh, he's been quite dead for hours.
Bumped himself off, that's plain enough.
Certainly looks that way, Vance.
I'm afraid your trip was spoiled for nothing.
I think not, Markham. This may prove far more interesting than a trip to Europe.
You carry a gun?
No, sir.
You?
Yes, sir, but only at night for the protection of the household.
Is that it?
Why, I...
Come on.
No, that was Mr. Archer's. But he always kept it in a desk drawer downstairs. I saw it yesterday morning as I was putting away some papers.
Oh, you did, eh?
Did Mr. Coe generally keep his windows locked?
Why, no, sir.
As a matter of fact, he was a great believer in fresh air.
Ah, indeed. I wonder if these gentlemen would mind waiting downstairs.
Well, certainly not.
I'm sorry we had to damage your door.
That's quite all right. It's easily repaired.
I'll have it attended to at once, sir.
Hennessy, see that no one leaves the house without my permission.
All right.
It's as plain as a nose on your face. This guy locked himself in here and blew out his brains.
I wish I could agree with you, Sergeant.
How the devil could it be anything but suicide?
It was all very well for you to theorize before we got here, Vance. But now that you've seen this, and there are no signs of a struggle...
And the door bolted on the inside, and no means of entrance to the room...
Ah, no other means of entrance. All right, you are, Sergeant. But we can hardly call a second-story window a means of entrance. And nothing here that even a human fly could crawl up. So why should Archer Coe lock his windows? Particularly if he was a fresh air enthusiast.
I'm afraid your reasoning is not altogether convincing.
Well, perhaps so, but Doesn't it strike you as rather odd that a man should suddenly decide to commit suicide while changing from his street clothes to pajamas?
Well, why not? A man debating suicide might get partially undressed and walk up and down for hours trying to make up his mind.
Yes, he might walk up and down for hours, but not with one shoe half off. No, Markham. Something stopped him as he was removing that shoe. This was supposed to suggest suicide, but someone miscalculated.
But you can't get away from that bolted door.
I wish I could.
The way you figure it out, the man was murdered. As soon as the killer is gone, he gets up, goes and bolts the door, plants himself in a comfortable chair with a loaded gun in his hand to suggest suicide. That's a swell theory.
Hello, Gamble. What is this? What's happened?
Something terrible has happened, Miss Lake.
Hilda.
What is it, Raymond? What is it?
It's your Uncle Archie, Hilda. He killed himself last night.
Where?
They're upstairs.
Hey, don't touch that body, miss.
Oh, Mr. Vance.
How do you do, Miss Lake? This is Mr. Markham, the district attorney. How do you do? Miss Lake, his Coe's niece.
I'm sorry, Miss Lake, but you mustn't touch anything until the medical examiner arrives. It's against regulation.
Is it also against regulations to tell me what's happened?
We arrived only a few moments ago. We found your uncle as you see him.
It has every appearance of suicide.
I doubt it.
Do you know of anyone who would have reason to kill your uncle?
Yes, I had for one.
Why, Miss Lake?
Because he stood in the way of everything I wanted. He made my life miserable because he held the purse strings. And because he was jealous of every man who came near me. I was afraid of him. Oh, the horrible nights I've spent in this house.
Are we to accept your comments as a confession of murder, Miss Lake?
Look here, Markham, that's ridiculous.
Please, Raymond. I think I can handle this situation myself.
When we found your uncle, Miss Lake, the door was bolted from the inside.
Bolted inside? Oh. Maybe he did shoot himself.
Can't you make up your mind?
Do you know of anyone else who felt as you do about your uncle?
Practically everyone he came in contact with. He was ruthless. He wanted his own way in everything. I imagine there are plenty of Chinese who will be glad to know that his collecting days are over. Ask our cook.
I shall. Can you think of anyone else?
Well, Uncle Brisbane shared my feelings toward him, I'm sure.
Where is this Brisbane guy? Maybe he decided to do something about it.
That's impossible. He's on his way to Chicago. He left on the 5 o'clock train yesterday afternoon. He'd be just about getting there by now.
Well, you'd probably like to wire him, wouldn't you?
Why, yes, of course. Is that all?
For the present, yes. Suppose we check up on Uncle Brisbane on that Chicago train.
Won't take me but a minute.
Hello?
Come on, Simpkin. Get your feet off the boss's desk and jump down to Grand Central.
All right, I get you.
Yes, Mr. Heath. Langham Hotel, Chicago? Yes, sir. I'll rush the call. Hold the while, please.
Oh, yes, Mr. Heath. We're expecting Mr. Brisbane called this morning. Oh, yes, he wired for a reservation last night.
Thank you. Goodbye. Yeah. He took the 5 o'clock train, all right.
Good.
You know, there's a few things I'd like to find out about this girl, Hilda Lake.
Why are you always trying to check up on me?
I'm not trying to check up on you, Hilda. I want to help you. Well, you know how I feel about you. You know that I love you. But lately you seem to have changed. Every time I want to speak to you about marriage, you evade me. What's on your mind?
Oh, nothing, nothing. Raymond, I never said I'd marry you.
But I thought that now that I could take you away from here.
You might as well know now as later. When all this is cleared up, I'm going to marry Tom MacDonald.
Oh.
Oh, try to understand, Raymond. I'm sorry.
Don't tell me.
Come on, don't try to kid us.
Quiet.
Oh, suicide, my eye, with the DA himself and Vance on the job?
It's suicide, and that's that.
Oh, come on, have a cigar.
It's still suicide. Hey, wait a minute. Are you a reporter?
No, I'm Sir Thomas McDonald. I'd like to talk to the officer in charge here.
Oh, come on inside.
Tom! Why didn't you stay away from here?
And leave you to face this thing alone?
But you promised me last night you wouldn't come here. Won't you go, please? I can bluff it through. I don't want the police asking you questions.
I know all the answers.
Oh, but please go for my sake.
Well, let's forget about it, shall we? It's too late now. In any case, the police are guarding every entrance.
Wait a moment. You can cross through that yard and get to your apartment. No one will see you. Take the first boat to England. I'll join you as soon as I can.
Watch out for those newspaper men, Sir Thomas. They're even deadlier than the police.
I had no intention of leaving.
Ah, good. Oh, by the way, I was sorry to hear about the death of your dog last night.
Oh, thanks.
You didn't by any chance discuss it with Archer Cole, did you?
No. If I had, I might have killed him.
Well, did you?
That's your problem.
Right in here.
I want to see.
You mean you, doctor?
How about a statement?
Give me a chance. Oh, wait a minute. I'm a doctor, not a magician.
Almost full and funny.
Go on now, scram.
All right, now
Wait a minute.
John, to get in here.
Hello, Doc. Hello. Hello, Kelsey. Where have you been? Haven't seen you for a long time. Working hard.
What kept you so long? Did you walk all the way?
You always pick on me at mealtime. I was in the middle of cakes and sausage. What have you got?
Just plain suicide. This guy locked himself in the room, bumped himself off.
Suicide? Then why didn't you let me finish my breakfast?
Hello, Doc.
Hello, Markham. All you need is an order to remove the body. If you told me that over the phone, I could have sent my assistant.
Mr. Markham told me to phone you personally. Don't crab at me about it.
I'll give you the approximate hour of the death, if you want it.
That's big-hearted of you, Doc.
And the routine autopsy, we can do tomorrow, as it's just a case of suicide.
Why do you jump to that conclusion, Doctor?
I know a dead man when I see one. Besides, the door was bolted.
I know, the door was bolted from the inside. But what about the body? Hadn't you better have a look at it?
I was going to. I'm a doctor, not a detective. This man is dead with a bullet hole in his right temple. He's holding a gun in his right hand. Just the kind of wound that might have been self-inflicted. The position is natural, and the door was locked on the inside. Well, let me see. That's strange.
Did you find something to disturb you, Doctor?
Plenty. There's blood in his mouth. And he's got a skull fracture from some club-like instrument.
What about the bullet wound in his temple? There's no blood there.
That's so. Gentlemen, when that bullet entered this man's head, he had been dead for hours.
Can you place the time of his death?
I'd say from 8 to 12 hours ago.
Would you say that the revolver was placed in his hand before rigor mortis set in?
Yep.
Did he die from the effects of the blow on the head?
No. Probably rendered him unconscious for a while, but that wouldn't have killed him. Not powerful enough.
The blow didn't kill him, the bullet didn't kill him, and yet he's dead. Suppose we try to find out just what did kill him.
Glad you thought of that, Mr. Vance. It's not a bad idea.
Perhaps I'd better take another look.
All right, boy. Let's pick up these clues before they get mussed up here.
Hey, just a minute, Doc, please. Ready?
Give me a hand, Sergeant. Help me lift the body over to the bed.
Where do you want to put it?
All right, boys, the rigor routine. Let's get this body over on the bed.
Around the handles, around the body. Get that neat and fine. All right, get off. Hey, here they come, boys. Let's get it. All right. Lift them easy. Easy.
Now then,
All right,
just a little more that way.
All right,
That's
Van, for you, Doc.
That's it. There couldn't have been much of a struggle. His hair isn't even mussed.
Maybe somebody slugged him and then combed his hair.
By George, now I've got it. Stabbed below the left shoulder blade, near the spine. There's no external bleeding.
Internal hemorrhage, huh?
That's it.
What do you think of the suicide theory now, Sergeant?
Well, it's slightly complicated for him to shot, slugged, and stabbed himself, particularly in the back.
Yes, very complicated. Oh, Markham.
Yes.
You see, there's no hole in the back of his pajama jacket. So he couldn't have been wearing that when he was stabbed. Forget this. There's a hole in the back of his coat, and another in his waistcoat, blood-stained. He must have been fully dressed when he was attacked.
That lets me out. I finished. I suppose you'll want a quick autopsy.
Yes.
Get that body down to the morgue as soon as possible. Good day, gentlemen.
Good day.
Hey, Doc.
Yes?
Do you think there's any possible chance of that being suicide?
What?
All right. Just a fair question, big boy. Go on home and get your hotcakes and sausage. You need the strength. That's it.
Yeah.
Hurry up to that dead wire.
Right.
Any report on that wire?
Not yet, Sarge.
Send a wire to this guy Markham, 98 East 71st Street, New York City, and tell him,
Brisbane Co. not aboard this train. Wallace, conductor, train number 7. Sit down. What time did Brisbane Co. leave for Chicago?
In time to catch the 5 o'clock train, sir.
How do you know he caught the 5 o'clock train?
I phoned for the reservation, brought him his walking stick and overcoat, and put his bag in the taxi.
Ah. Did you remain in the house all evening?
Why, no, sir. I went out about 6:30. It was a servant's night off. Everyone was out to dinner.
Did you notice anything unusual in Mr. Brisbane's manner when he left?
Oh, now that you mention it, he was distracted and very irritable.
You say you gave him his stick?
Yes, sir.
What kind of stick?
His favorite, an ivory-handled one. He never went anywhere without it, sir.
You're quite sure he took that particular stick with him?
Positive. I handed it to him myself, sir.
Did you see him when he returned here last evening?
Returned?
Yes.
I didn't know he had returned, sir.
Then whose ivory-headed stick is that hanging over that chair in the hall?
I don't know, sir. I swear I don't know.
Down. Steady, Gamble, steady.
Is this it? Is it?
Yes, sir. I can't understand it.
I suppose you saw nothing of his bag?
Why, no, sir.
Well, if he brought his cane back here, what did he do with his bag?
Ah, very good, Sergeant. That's just the point. He undoubtedly left it somewhere. But where? I should think the most logical place would be the check room at the Grand Central Station.
What kind of a bag was it?
Just an ordinary pigskin bag, sir, with his initials BC on it.
Is that it?
Yeah, that looks like it.
There's your police department receipt. What time was this check? 4:45. Thanks, pal.
Okay.
Well, here it is.
Put it here.
Did you examine the contents?
No, I brought it right up here.
I'll open it. Did you find out what time this was checked?
Yeah. There you are.
4:45.
You must have gone direct from the house to the station.
Did the attendant remember who left this?
No, he said there were so many of them that most of the time he didn't even notice the people.
Well, there's shaving kit, shirts, underwear, socks, collars, slippers. Nothing in there that a man wouldn't ordinarily take with him on a short trip.
Except this, perhaps.
Unsolved murders. That's a swell book to take to Chicago.
That's rather odd, isn't it?
Yes, more than that. Gentlemen, the mist is beginning to rise. I think I know at least a part of what happened here last night. How about this? Let's say that Brisbane Co. started for Chicago on a night when he knew that no one but Archer would be at home. He missed his train purposely, checked his bag at the station, and returned here to kill his brother. To make a perfect alibi, he planned to take a later train to Chicago. But something stopped him. And something stopped Archer Cole before he could remove his shoes last night. You see what I mean? Those shoes of Archer's, that bag of Brisbane's, his stick hanging there in the hall, it shouldn't have been there. Just a minute. Oh, Gamble. Where did Mr. Brisbane usually put his hat and overcoat when he came in?
He always hung them in the closet, sir.
Which closet?
This one. Oh! Mr. Brisbane.
Well, Mr. Vance, where are we now?
I should say somewhere in the middle of the Gobi Desert.
Hello. What? Again? I'm right in the middle of my lunch. First you interfere with my breakfast, then you ruin my lunch. Don't you boys ever eat?
No, I'm on a diet.
Oh, all right. Hello. All right, I'll attend to that later. Get me the wagon and the fingerprint gang.
Just a minute, fellas. One side, please.
Just a moment, please.
Ready? That's all.
All right, go ahead. Here. He's been dead for hours.
And me thinking all the time he was playing possum.
Well, there are too many people in the world anyway.
Mr. Vance, this is just ordinary junk.
I'm afraid so. And I'd rather hope for something important.
Which one of the two victims died first, Arthur?
Archer Coe, I think. This one a little later.
And the weapon?
The same, sharp and narrow.
Second. Tag and list these.
I think I better fingerprint everything inside and outside here.
Right, Captain.
Hennessy.
Yes.
Look for a sharp, narrow weapon.
Right.
Found something?
Why, it looks like fishing tackle.
It's tackle, all right, but not fishing. Markham, we're dealing with a shrewd brain. The technique of this crime was very cleverly worked out. But something went wrong.
Sergeant, here's your order for the removal of the body.
Thanks, Sergeant.
So long. I want food.
Well, nobody's stopping you.
And if you've got any more corpses, bring them out now, will you? I can't be running up and down here all day.
What do you mean running up and down all day with that swell car the city gave you?
Oh.
Nothing upsets the doctor.
Hi, Captain. Going in to take charge? Well, if you hurry up and solve this case, maybe I can go home. Come on.
I can handle everything if I don't get too much interference.
Oh, Markham.
Yeah?
You're just in time for a demonstration. I think I can show you how Brisbane Coe used this fishing tackle. He started for Chicago and merely to provide an alibi. He had other plans in this room. Watch this. Notice the bent pin which is hooked on the bolt handle? This is attached to the string I am now pulling through the keyhole. If you follow the string, you will see that it passes around a pin in the wall. This acts as a pulley, and is also attached to a string passing through the keyhole. You see, the bolt is now being forced into its socket.
Upon my word.
I now pull the first string through the keyhole, and then the second string. And with it comes the pin, leaving no evidence. Now let me in. It worked?
Yes, it worked.
Well, that explains that then. Very clever.
It could have been done that way, but if Brisbane killed Archer Coe, who killed Brisbane and hung him in the closet?
Why did he do it? That's what we want to find out, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, two persons planned the murder of Archer Coe.
Two?
What?
But their paths crossed. Brisbane was one of them.
The other?
I've got it. The Chinese cook. They're full of those tricks.
Forget this. Dr. DeRamus said that Coe was struck over the head with a blunt instrument. This poker would answer that description, wouldn't it?
Yes. And that certainly looks like dried blood.
It certainly does. But what about those short, coarse hairs?
They don't look like Coe's.
No.
Well, Mr. Vance, why didn't you find that when you looked in there this morning?
It wasn't in there this morning. Besides, it doesn't belong in this room. It belongs downstairs in the library. What is it, Captain? What is it, Captain?
You're all down there?
Oh, good boy, Captain.
This dog's been struck a nasty blow.
That explains the coarse hairs on the poker. Whose dog is this?
I don't know. I mean, I've often seen it in the vacant lots, sir.
Just tell the truth, Gamble.
Yes. Why don't you?
It belongs to the lady next door, sir.
Hmm. Hennessy, get that fellow to a vet as fast as you can, will you?
Yes, sir.
Easy, 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 boy. Easy. Now, Gamble, let's have the name of the lady next door.
Doris Delafield.
Yes, I'm Miss Delafield. Won't you sit down, gentlemen?
Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't win you a trophy at the dog show. You're quite a fancier, aren't you?
Yes, somewhat.
I'm interested in one of your dogs, the Doberman.
You mean Figaro?
I wonder if I could have a look at him.
I'm terribly sorry. You know, he slipped his leash last night and ran away. I've notified the police. My maid's been scouring the neighborhood trying to find him.
Well, did she inquire at Mr. Coe's house next door?
Well, I don't know.
You and Mr. Coe have been good friends, haven't you?
I know him. Why?
Your dog was found in his house this morning, badly wounded.
What?
Have you any idea how he got there?
No.
Do you suppose he would follow someone into the house?
Well, I hardly think... Now, what are you driving at?
Mr. Archer Coe and his brother were murdered last night.
Murdered? I was afraid that...
Just a moment.
Hello. Is that Miss Doris Delafield's apartment? Would you please tell Miss Delafield that we couldn't get the reservations for her and Mr. Grassy on A deck, and ask her if B deck would be satisfactory?
Miss Delafield will not be sailing. You can cancel a reservation for them both.
Both? Do you mind telling me whom the other reservation was for?
I refuse to answer that question.
Would it be Mr. Grossi?
But I am Mr. Grossi. And if I didn't cancel those reservations, who did? What? Miss Delafield. Oh, no, she didn't. No, really, there's been a mistake. As soon as I can find out about this, I'll call you back.
I don't think you'll find Miss Delafield at home just now. And as for the cancellation of your steamship reservations, we regret very much that it was necessary.
Who are you?
This is Mr. Markham, the district attorney.
Oh, I'm honored, but I'm afraid I don't quite understand.
It's about this.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Coe didn't commit suicide. He was murdered.
Murdered?
Would you mind coming along with us? Just a little matter of comparing fingerprints.
No, not in the least.
I think that's all.
Found anything yet?
The one taken from the doorknob is too blurred for identification, but this one is very clear. It appears to be that of Liang, the Chinese cook.
Any luck? No, not yet. It must be here somewhere. I'm positive that the dagger that killed the Coles belongs in that sheath. Tired, Markham? No. Well. That's strange. What is it? The King Yar vase is missing. It's the most valuable in the whole collection. That's all that's left of it. If I'm not mistaken, that's blood. Blood? Markham, I'm coming more and more to the belief that Archer Cole was killed in this room. That poker, this dagger sheath, now these fragments, all here.
But, Vance, do you mean to tell me that the dead man walked upstairs?
I'm not trying to tell you anything but the facts. It's the most remarkable case in my experience.
Find anything, Cap?
Yes, sir. Plenty. Oh, Mr. Reed.
Oh, yes, Mr. Vance.
Would you step in for a moment, please?
Why, certainly.
Smoke?
No, thanks.
Did you notice that the Ting Yao was missing?
Missing? Why, it was here yesterday evening.
At what time?
At about 6:30 or 7 o'clock. I came back to talk to Mr. Cole.
About what?
Well, as a matter of fact, I wanted to quit my job as his secretary.
Oh, you'd been having some difficulties with him?
It was rather a personal matter. I wanted his permission to marry Miss Lake.
What did he say to that?
He ordered me out.
You went?
Yes.
Where?
I went to find Miss Lake. I thought she was at the Kennel Club, but I had a puncture on the way, so it was rather late when I got there. She'd already left with Sir Thomas MacDonald. Then I came home and went directly to bed.
Did you hear anything or see anything when you came into the house?
No. But after I'd been in bed for a while, I heard some noises downstairs. I opened the door and looked down, but it was only Liang, the Chinese cook, coming in.
Was he customarily noisy in entering the house?
Oh, as a matter of fact, it's the first time I ever heard him come in.
Indeed. Well, I think that's all, Mr. Reed. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know.
Quite right. Good night.
Good night.
I think I'd check up on that Kennel Club alibi.
I will.
You might have those fragments checked for fingerprints, if you will.
Yes.
Meanwhile, I'll do a little exploring in the kitchen.
Why, Mr. Vance, I thought... Get Markham.
Mr. Liang, I believe. You're the cook.
Me cook.
You can drop the pidgin English. That isn't necessary with me. Where did you go to school?
Columbia University.
Ah, that's considerable education for a cook, isn't it?
Mr. Cole employed me because I know a great deal about Chinese porcelain.
Ah, I see. Ah, that's a very lovely piece of Ting Yao, isn't it? How did it get broken?
I don't know, sir. I found the pieces in the wastebasket in the library.
You want me, Vance? Oh, yes. See that, Markham? More blood spots on the inside. Apparently, the murderer dropped the dagger in here to hide it, but he dropped it too hard and the vase broke. When did you find these pieces?
This morning.
This morning? You're sure it wasn't last night, about 8 o'clock, let us say?
No, sir. I did not get in until after midnight. I'm sure Mr. Reed or Mr. Gamble will tell you that.
What time did you find the poker?
The poker?
Yes, the poker. The one you hid in the Chinese chest in Mr. Archer's room this afternoon.
But I don't know what you mean.
Oh, yes, you do. I was behind the door in that room when you hid it.
Let me handle this, Mr. Vance. Are you going to talk? Or do I have to make you?
Wait. I'll tell you the truth.
Well, spit it out.
When I returned to my room here about 8 o'clock last night...
Ah, I thought so.
I heard angry, muffled voices in the library. Then a dull sound as of someone falling. I stood at my door here and listened. Then I heard footsteps cross the kitchen and go out the back door. And then I walked up the corridor, and everything was very quiet. I opened the library door and looked in. The furniture was overturned. The poker was there. The desk was disarranged, and the valuable Tengu vase was broken. I thought there must be something wrong, so I went upstairs and looked into Mr. Coe's bedroom. He was dead. Fearing that I might be suspected, I went back to the library and picked up the broken pieces of the vase, and together with the poker, I took them to my room.
And knowing that you were alone in the house, you were afraid you might be suspected. So you hid the weapons and left.
Yes, sir.
You returned to the house about midnight and purposely made a lot of noise so as to establish your alibi. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, then. Where'd you put the dagger?
I did not find the dagger.
Don't give me that. What did you do with it after you stuck it in Archer Coe's back?
I've got it, Mr. Markham.
Yes?
What? Fingerprint on this broken fragment belongs to the Italian, Eduardo Grassi.
Well, Mr. Vance, looks like somebody else miscalculated.
Yep, it fits. Oh, that doesn't prove anything.
What about this?
Where did you get it?
It was in Archer Coe's pocket.
What were you doing outside the drawing room window last night?
I wanted to be sure that he was alone.
Why?
For weeks we had been negotiating for the sale of his collection to the museum at Milan. It meant everything to me. He kept raising the price, but on Monday we came to an understanding. And I cabled the museum that I had succeeded. And last night he turned me down because he saw me with Miss Delafield.
Let me explain. Archer was extremely jealous of me.
Well, you can't blame him for that.
You went there to threaten him, didn't you?
I had every right to do. I told him I would use any means to make him fulfill his contract. He laughed at me, said that he would smash every piece in his collection before he'd let me have it.
So you picked up the poker and did a little smashing on your own account, eh?
I did not.
Let me have the fragment, will you? Thank you. You know how that was broken?
Tignan vase?
With blood stains on the inside and your fingerprint on the outside.
I don't know.
Sergeant, I think you better book him.
Right.
Thank you.
Come on. Let's get out of that monkey suit. Let's get going. Come on.
Don't worry, I'm not running away.
You telling me? I suspected the Italian all along.
Exactly. But why should Grassi also stab Brisbane? And what about the Doberman? You see, Markham, we have nearly all the pieces of the puzzle, but none of them seems to fit.
Here we are. This isn't it. This is the basement.
I know. Come on. I just want to see where this goes.
Good evening, sir.
Gamble. By the way, how long have you been using that name?
All my life, sir.
Dubois checked Gamble's fingerprints at the Identification Bureau, and who do you think he turns out to be?
Not Gamble?
No. Atlantic Eddie. He used to work the boats on both sides of the ocean.
Honestly, Mr. Vance, I haven't turned a trick in 5 years.
Oh, that's all right, Eddie. I just wanted to let you know that we're old pals.
Sir, someone slipped in the back door and went into one of the front rooms.
Well, Miss Delafield.
Don't be surprised, gentlemen. I'm used to coming in here like this.
You seem to know your way around here pretty well.
As the district attorney, you're responsible for this case, aren't you?
That's right.
Well, I'm tired of detectives. I'm tired of being spied on. All you want to know is who killed Archer Coe, isn't it?
Naturally.
Well, I did.
What?
Yes. And there isn't a jury on earth will convict me when they hear my story. You don't believe me, do you? You were wondering this afternoon how my dog, Figaro, could get into this house. Well, he was following me. He was defending me when he was struck.
Well, where did you kill Mr. Coe?
In his bedroom.
What kind of lipstick do you use?
Lipstick? What's that got to do with it?
Is that yours?
Yes, that's mine. While I was struggling with Archer, my bag dropped on the floor and everything spilled out.
Won't do, Miss Delafield. It's an old trick.
It's not a trick.
I didn't realize that you were so fond of Mr. Grassi.
Mr. Grassi has nothing to do with it. Take me down to the station. I'll say nothing more until I get an attorney.
Help! 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 Help!
This guy's been stabbed, Hennessy.
Is this it, Mr. Vance? Yes, that's it. Thank you very much.
First you spoil my breakfast. Then you break up my lunch. Now you pull me out of bed in the middle of the night. And this fellow not even dead.
Why don't you put that in your report, Doc?
Of course, fingerprints would never pick up on that silk handle. But it fits perfectly. Where did you find it, Sergeant?
Under the bed.
Congratulations.
That's all right, Mr. Vance.
3 crimes with the same weapon, Markham.
Tom, what is it? What's happened?
I don't know, dear. Somebody stabbed me.
Is it serious, Doctor?
Oh, no. I gave him 3 grains of sodium amytal to quiet his nerves. He'll be all right. I'd like to rent a room here till they finish this case.
Poor darling. I wish I hadn't got you mixed up in all this.
You shouldn't have come here. Let me see this through alone.
Oh, I won't leave you. Can't we get away from here?
We leave tomorrow. Together.
Well, what do you think about it, Doc?
Well, the thrust punctured the median basilic vein and caused a hemorrhage.
Could the wound have been self-inflicted, Doctor?
I'm the city butcher, not a detective. Don't bother me with any murders after 3 tomorrow. I'm going to the World Series.
Hey, Doc, hold me the score between innings, will you?
Get these people out of this. What are they waiting for?
We just want to ask you a few questions, Sir Thomas. You say that when you were stabbed, you saw nothing, huh?
That's right. It was dark. I heard a noise and jumped out of bed. Somebody threw a chair and just missed my head and struck the window. I shouted for help and ran towards the door. Then I felt a sharp pain in my arm as I lost consciousness.
Knife by a ghost. That's a hot one. I think he done it himself.
How dare you, sir?
That's not fair.
Do you know anything about that?
Where'd you find it?
Under your bed.
I never saw it before.
Yeah. Like I never saw a pair of handcuffs.
You've no right to question him now in this condition.
Rather funny. You see what I see in Archer Coe's room? I have a suspicion that whoever killed the Coes came from this house. Probably from this room. Huh? Gentlemen, I think I can fit the pieces of this jigsaw puzzle together. Now, here is East 71st Street. This is the Coe house, the yard, and the apartment house next door. Now, let's have a look inside. This is McDonald's apartment. Directly opposite is the window of Archer Coe's bedroom. Underneath McDonald's apartment is the cozy little nest of Miss Delafield and her temporary guest, Mr. Grassi. This is the elevator, and here are the stairs that lead directly to the back entrance. From there, it's easy to reach the back entrance to the Coe house across the yard. Now, that's the front hall, and here's the library. On Wednesday evening, between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, Archer Coe was sitting alone in that room. Now remember, it was the servant's night off. The killer must have known this when he came in the back door. He was so intent upon what he was planning to do that he must have left the back door open, because from somewhere in that vacant lot came a dog, a Doberman Pinscher, belonging to Doris Delafield. He saw the back door standing open and went in. Meanwhile, the killer was moving along the hall toward the library, making absolutely sure that Archer Coe was alone. He knew exactly where he was going and exactly what he was going to do. He came so silently that it must have startled Archer Coe when he looked up and saw him carefully closing the doors. It is my conjecture, gentlemen, that a terrific argument took place. Archer Coe must have struck him, and as he fell back, he picked up the poker as the first weapon that came into his hand. He struck Archer Coe on the head. Coe collapsed across the desk, his hands groping in the drawer of the desk for his gun. Then, in a blind rage of the moment, the killer saw a Chinese dagger. He seized it and stabbed Archer Coe in the back. Coe probably fell to the floor. Meantime, our Doberman Pinscher was coming closer and closer, probably attracted by the sound of the struggle in the library. As the killer opened the door to escape, he saw the Doberman Pinscher in the hall coming toward him. He again picked up the poker as the dog entered the room. True to the instinct of his breed, the dog sensed an enemy. He leaped. The killer struck, and the dog fell, badly wounded. Now he tried to hide the dagger in the Tingya vase. He dropped it too hard, and the porcelain broke into bits. He picked up the dagger again and went out the same way he came in. Meanwhile, Coe slowly regained consciousness and pulled himself to his feet. You remember, gentlemen, that Dr. Doremus said Coe died of an internal hemorrhage. And that is the key to the whole situation. Archer Coe, already a dying man, walked upstairs. And what is even more terrible, he did not know that he had been stabbed. He went to his room and, feeling a little faint probably, he removed his coat and vest and hung them in the closet where we found them. He put on his pajama top and went to the window and raised the shade. Can you imagine the killer's emotions when, from someplace in the apartment house across the vacant lot, he looked over and saw the man he thought he had killed standing there at the window? He knew then that he had to go back and complete his job to save himself. Feeling very faint by now, Archer Coe went from the window to the chair beside his desk, where he sat down. There, he started to remove his shoes. You remember just how we found him. In the very act of removing them, before he could get one of them entirely off, he died. I don't think he ever knew what killed him. Now we come to the most awful part of the tragedy. Brisbane Coe came back to the house with a cleverly worked out plan for killing his brother. He also knew that it was the servants' night out and that he would not be disturbed. He went down the hall to the library, and from the drawer of the desk, he took Archer Coe's own revolver and put it into his pocket. Then, turning out the light on the desk, he went out of the room. He hung his stick over the chair in the hall and tiptoed up the stairs and into Archer Coe's room. He saw his brother sitting in his easy chair, apparently asleep. I can see him tiptoe across the room. And from somewhere just across the desk, he took out the revolver and with careful aim, he pulled the trigger. Meantime, the killer, believing that he had only wounded Archer Coe, came back by the same route to finish his job. Then Brisbane closed the window and lowered the shade. And returning to the body, he carefully placed the gun in Archer's hand, as though it had been suicide. Then he went to the door, and with the two pieces of string, the pins and the darning needle, he was able to bolt the door on the inside, just as I showed you. A very clever device, gentlemen. which he had discovered in the book of unsolved murders, which we found in his suitcase. Then, gentlemen, Brisbane went on down the stairs, little knowing what awaited him there. The killer mistook Brisbane for Archer Coe and drove the dagger into Brisbane's back. Then, to hide the body, he dragged it into the closet.
I doubt if he even discovered his mistake until the next day.
That's great. But who did all that?
Well, you can search me. I'm going screwy.
You can include me in that, Sergeant.
Haven't you got any ideas at all, Vance?
Markham, it's a maze of conflicting clues. Any one of 7 people might have done it.
But we couldn't convict 7 people, Mr. Vance.
You couldn't convict one with the evidence you've got. Gentlemen, I'm afraid we're completely stopped.
Licked.
Well, I hate to admit it, but it looks that way.
Vance, in all the years we've worked together, I never heard you say that before.
I know. I'm sorry, Markham.
Well, what are we going to do about it?
I don't know. Are you sure you checked up on all the alibis?
Every one of them.
And you've gone over the fingerprint situation with your boy?
Yes, sir.
Well, we've slipped up somewhere, Sergeant. But there must be something that we can get our teeth into.
Markham, I suggest that you dismiss this case.
What? Dismiss it?
Yes, turn all the suspects loose.
I can just see all the newspapers in this town screaming for a new district attorney.
Well, we can probably cover you up all right, Mr. Markham. I've said it was suicide all along.
Yes, I know. We could put that solution on it, but I hate to do it. All right, Sergeant. Go ahead. Turn him loose.
Turn him loose?
Yes.
Well, Mr. Vance, this is once we're both stuck.
When you give up, Vance, I'm sunk.
Oh, I haven't given up. I have another idea.
What?
If it works, I'll have your killer for you in half an hour. I'm going to arrange a little meeting with him now.
What? But you let me dismiss all the suspects.
Yeah, that's just what I wanted you to do. Hello? This is Mr. Vance. I hope I haven't disturbed you. I wonder if you'd do me a little favor.
Mr. Markham.
Yes.
Can I see you a minute? That suicide story might work all right for Archer Coe, but I forgot all about Brisbane.
Well, never mind about that now. Just release the suspects, as I told you.
All right.
That's it. Yes? That's right. At 4:30. And just get him into an argument. Oh, I'll have him with me. I'm depending on his instinct. That's right. Thanks. If we can catch him off his guard, I think he'll give himself away. Come on, Markham. We've got to get there before 4:25.
Mr. Vance. They're in the library now.
Oh, darling, let me help you.
All right, Dorothy.
Well, this is the first time we've used bloodhounds in police work since I wore high-button shoes.
And red flannel underwear?
Oh, I always wear red flannel underwear.
So do I. I want your bridal suite on the Coronia. They're sailing at midnight. That's right. Thank you.
Sailing at midnight. Lady MacDonald. Is it the title that dazzles you so much? Or is it the fortune she'll inherit that makes her so attractive, Sir Thomas?
Raymond, are you crazy?
It isn't the first time a fortune has bought a title.
It so happens I'm not in need of a fortune. Possibly you are.
Raymond, you've no right to interfere this way.
No right? Well, I'll take that right. You think you're both sailing at midnight? Well, it won't work. You're going all right, Sir Thomas, but you're going alone.
Really?
Yes, and you're going now, all right?
Ah, the poker again, huh?
Take him off! Take him off! Oh.
Here, hold him. Why did you kill Archer Cole? Why did you kill him?
I didn't mean to kill him.
But you did, eh?
I tell you, I didn't mean to kill him. He struck me when I told him I wanted to marry Hilda. And I lost my head. I hit him with a poker. I don't remember anything after that.
What about Brisbane?
It was a terrible mistake.
And McDonald?
I still would kill him if I could.
There's your man, Sergeant. You made a fatal mistake, Reed, when you reached for that poker.
Somebody swiped my bracelets.
You dropped them in the pantry.
Oh. All right, Hennessy. Leave down booking.
I want to thank you very much for your cooperation.
Not at all.
It was Sir Thomas I telephoned from your office, Markham. He very cleverly helped us stage this little scene. We have to thank the dog for the rest.
Well, we did it again, Mr. Vance.
Congratulations, Sergeant.
Thank you. I'll certainly mention you in my story to the papers.
Thank you.
Oh, that's all right, Mr. Vance.
Wait, old boy. The Stanhope jewels, worth a king's ransom.
Yeah? Well, that wouldn't be much the way the king business stands today. Now, what are we going to get out of it?
About 40,000 pounds.
I mean in real dough. Dollars and cents.
$150,000 at least.
Well, I don't want to be a wet blanket, Miller. But smuggling a chunk of ice like that into the States is going to be a tough job.
Listen, when the Hellenic gets to New York, a man named Dietz is coming aboard.
Wait a minute. You can't get on board a ship in America until all passengers have been cleared.
Dietz is coming aboard at quarantine, posing as a news photographer. Once on board, he'll come straight to my cabin, hand over the 40,000 pounds, and take the jewels away with him in his camera. How does that sound?
Well, it's a great scheme, Miller, if it works. Oh, what about your movements in New York?
I'm not going ashore in New York. Once I get on that boat, I'm going to be a very sick man on a sea voyage for my health. I've reserved the same stateroom for the return trip.
What about my dough? Do I have to wait till you get back?
You can trust me. I'm what you call a square shooter.
And so am I, brother.
You're a clever man, Wait.
Not Wait. From now on, it's Miller. Did you pack his trunks?
Everything is ready. Mr. Miller?
I'll take care of that. What about the passports?
They're right here.
This is yours. This will be mine.
It's a pity, but you'll have to part with that beard.
Yeah, I figured on that. Can you handle a razor?
Try me.
Good, let's go. Was Miller expecting anyone?
Not that I know of. You wait here. I'll see who it is.
I'd like to see Mr. Miller.
I'm sorry, miss. Mr. Miller isn't at home. He's gone.
Gone, eh? Well, you just tell him Daisy wants to see him. He'll know.
But I'm sorry, miss. I've already told you Mr. Miller isn't at home. In fact, he won't be home for some time. Perhaps you'd like to convince yourself. Well, the door's open. Why don't you go in? Ah, a pretty little thing, like you. And just as deadly.
That's all right. I'll find him and tell him for me that when I do, he'll be sorry he ever met me, the rat.
We've got to get out of here. Fast. It's getting dangerous.
Not the police.
Worse, a woman.
Oh. Oh.
Well? Guess you can go out for your walk now. Only a few people on deck.
No, thanks. I'll wait till later. Taking no chances.
My dear, wait.
Oh, don't call me Wait. Until this deal is finished, I'm Miller. And you're my valet. Is that clear?
Yes. At your service.
A wireless message for Mr. Miller.
Yeah, thank you. Well, what does it say?
Mother, arranging welcome. Everything fine. Love and kisses. Say, what the...
That's Miller's code. Meet you at quarantine. All set for deal. Peters and Deeds. Well, everything seems to be working out smoothly.
Yeah? Well, I hope so.
Oh, nothing to be nervous about.
No?
No.
Take a look.
I understand. Won't you sit down?
Oh, thank you, Captain. I will.
I'm quite familiar with all the details of the robbery, Lord Stanhope.
You know, the newspapers are full of it. Those jewels have a great money value, but they mean much more than that to my family. The point is, Captain, I have undertaken the job of getting them back.
And you really think that the thieves are on board this boat?
I am certain, Captain. That's why I am asking you for your cooperation.
Well, of course, you understand that it'd be rather unwise to search or question any passenger without something more definite than a mere suspicion.
I see. Commercial caution.
Well, we could notify the New York police. That is, if you want someone held on arrival.
And give the crooks time enough to carry out their plans? No, sir. Thank you.
All right. Come on.
Dodge. The guy's been following us.
Oh, come on. He's only a passenger walking around the deck.
Yeah? Just the same, I'm going in. I tell you, I'm not going out there again.
It's nothing. You're nervous, that's all.
Yeah. Dodge. Somebody's been in this room. They read this wireless. I told you we're being watched.
Get this, dates. The press boat meets the Atlantic at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I know.
This photographer's pass will get you on board. And this layout will help you find Miller's stateroom.
I get you.
That's an awful lot of dough, so don't fall in the bay.
Don't worry. It's as safe here as in a bank.
What bank?
Come on, Inspector. Buy a poppy and help the veterans.
Sure. There you are.
Cablegram, Inspector.
Well, Doc, here's something right down your alley. Listen. Body of man shot and disfigured beyond identification, found yesterday in a house owned by Ben Miller, whom we believe implicated in Stanhope jewel robbery. Stop. Lawrence Stanhope threatened thieves. Stop. Suggest you question him on arrival aboard Hellenic today. Scotland Yard.
What time does the Hellenic dock? We're not going to wait until she docks. Hello. Inspector Carr talking. I want a police boat at the battery in 10 minutes. Yes. We're going to meet that boat.
I was going to his cabin to get his passport for the immigration, sir. Twice I knocks at the door, and he don't answer. So I'm thinking he's asleep, and I decides to go in. And blimey, when I opens the door, there he is laying face downward. Dead as a dead horse.
What does it look like, Doctor? This man was killed by a bullet. A bullet? That entered his brain from the rear. I'd say he'd been dead less than an hour. Looks like murder.
What's happened? Something's happened. Something terrible has happened to him.
Why, that's the fellow who shares the stateroom with this man.
What? One moment. When did you last see Mr. Miller?
I left him a little less than half an hour ago, sir, when I went to the purser's office to change some money.
That's right, sir, he did.
Don't touch that gun. Radio the New York police to meet us at the dock. This is their jurisdiction.
Very good, sir.
Purser. Yes, sir. Find Lord Stanhope. Bring him here at once.
Very good, sir.
Oh, Captain, there's a police boat coming alongside of us now.
Very good.
Do you know this man, Stanhope?
I never saw him before I came aboard, sir. But this morning, out of the clear sky, he stopped me on the deck and asked me how Mr. Miller was feeling. I thought maybe he knew him, so I replied Mr. Miller was quite sick.
Did you see where he went after that?
No, sir. You see, I went on to the purser's office to get some change.
That's right, sir. I changed a $100 bill.
Oh, did Mr. Miller bring United States currency with him?
Why, yes, sir.
I searched Stanhope's cabin, Inspector. Couldn't find a thing.
Right.
Did you bring a gun with you on the trip?
Why, of course. I never travel without one. Here you are, sir.
Well, it's a cinch that didn't kill him.
No, Inspector. This is the gun we found near the body.
Well, it looks like a woman's mixed up in this somewhere.
Well, whoever did it, sir. Do you think they'd be fool enough to leave the weapon lying around?
Keep quiet, I'll do the talking.
Begging your pardon, sir. If you let me talk, I might have something to say.
Shoot.
Several times on the voyage, I seen a lady lingering out in front of the stateroom. I'm thinking it was the lady across the hall, in number 80.
Doyle, bring in the lady in number 80. I suppose you know what's just happened around here. I find it necessary to ask you a few questions. Did you ever see that gun before?
Yes. That revolver belongs to me. It was stolen out of my purse.
Did you know this man, Miller?
Yes,
Did you know him intimately?
rather. I was once Mr. Miller's wife.
And you quarreled.
Quarreled. I hated him.
And you followed him on board this boat and killed him, didn't you? Come on, out with it, didn't you?
Why, that's not Ben Miller.
What do you mean?
I mean, that's not my husband.
Good heavens, what a resemblance. I never saw this man before.
That's right. This is not Miller, the jeweler I followed from London.
Wait a minute. Let us get this straight. You suspected Miller was going to America to dispose of your gem?
Why, yes, I traced the robbery to him.
Captain. Yes. Were there any credentials found on this man's person?
None whatsoever.
Inspector, just what does this mean to you?
Holy mackerel. That man must have been in New York this morning.
Exactly. And before getting on board this ship at quarantine, he must have bought a poppy.
We'll find out who he is and how he got on board quick enough. Doyle,
Check up on the reporters that came out on that tender this morning.
Right.
You are the purser?
Yes, sir.
Would you be good enough to get us the $100 bill that Mr. Dodge changed this morning?
Certainly, sir.
Dodge, where are the Stanhope jewels?
Jewels? You heard me. Hi, Inspector, you don't suppose he'd be carrying them around in a suitcase?
Well, it's a safe bet they've got them hidden somewhere.
I'll have a thorough search made if you wish, sir.
Thanks. If this man came on board this morning, where's the guy who was traveling in this cabin with you?
But I've already told you. The last time I saw him was just before I went to the purser's office to get some change.
Here you are, sir. The $100 bill.
Checked on the reporters, Inspector. This bird's a photographer named Dietz. None of the newspaper gang ever saw him before.
Okay. Examine that for fingerprints and compare them with the dead man.
Right.
All right. If you won't tell us about the jewels, maybe you'll tell us who the man was found murdered in Ben Miller's house in London the day you sailed. You know, the man who was slashed up with a razor.
Razor? Inspector.
Blood, isn't it?
Yes, and what's more, it's fresh blood. But no, there are no cuts on him.
Inspector, this man's fingerprints are on the bill.
Then it must have been he who brought the money on board.
Well, Mr. Dodge, you better come across. You're in a tough spot. Where's this guy Miller?
Wasn't Miller at all. His name was Wait.
All right, come on, come on.
You see, Wait, double-crossed Miller and killed him. Then he came on board with the jewels.
Where is he now?
I gave him a close shave this morning. You're liable to find him somewhere down the bay. Oblige me with the light, please.
All right, come on now. Where are the jewels?
In the bird cage.
Doyle.
Yes.
You didn't like the idea of going 50-50 with this man, Wait, so you double-crossed him, eh?
Yeah. Before he double-crossed me with this crook from New York.
Inspector, here are the jewels.
Oh, there they are. That's the jewels, all right.
I see. And when he came on board with the dough, instead of giving him the jewels, you gave him lead. Pretty crude. I had you figured out as a pretty tough hombre, Mr. Dodge, but I had no idea you were a one-man crime wave. Doyle.
Yes.
Send the gentleman's baggage to the tomb.
Right.
Inspector!
What's the matter? What's happened?
No.
Doctor!
Inspector. Poison. Well, I can say this much for him. He certainly took life easy.
Your name, please?
Marjorie Burns.
Your occupation?
Well, I was a detective in a department store.
What is your name?
Jimmy Kelly. I am a detective.
At least you two should be able to keep track of each other. Yeah, you signed right on. Yeah.
We'd like to get married right away.
If you're in a hurry, I'm afraid you're in the wrong state. I have a friend, a justice of the peace, across the line. I'd be only too happy to send him a telegram. You want me to meet you at Red Rock Tavern.
Oh, that'd be very nice of you.
Are you married?
No, I was born this way.
This is the kind of night that gives me the willies.
Something's always giving you the willies.
As soon as I can save enough money, I'm going to get out of here. I want to be where there's lights. Sounds like the wailing of ghosts. What makes ghosts wail, Mrs. Jameson?
Oh, Bert, don't ask foolish questions. Go and put another log on the fire.
Yes.
Say, Mason, why do you think Wentworth asked us to meet him here?
I haven't the slightest idea. But whatever he has on his mind must be important. Bill's message read the same as ours. But what I can't understand is why he wants to see Gloria.
You're not bad at this gag.
Have I told you anything yet?
Yes, I've taken that journey that you mentioned. And if I placed this dark woman properly, you've told me plenty.
I should go into this thing as a business instead of...
That's a bad card, isn't it?
That is the card of death, Harrison.
Well, it's funny. I feel all right.
Sometimes cards lie.
Personally, I haven't much confidence in this sort of thing.
That's a bad sign.
Well, at any rate, I'll be careful.
That's always a good idea.
If you'll excuse me, I think I'll go to my room.
Certainly.
Here we are, honey.
I sure could use a nice fireplace.
Can I help you?
Yeah, you got a fireplace?
We got one inside.
Well, fireplace won't come to us. I guess we'll have to go to it.
Keep the change. Here, honey. Well, there it is. My name's Kelly. Has there been a man, justice of the peace, looking for me?
No.
That's funny. Decidedly inconvenient, too.
Well, are you sure you're in the right place?
Well, this is the Red Rock Tavern, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, if my man shows up, I'll only need one room. If he don't, I'll have to have two.
I'm sorry. We can't accommodate you, sir.
You can't?
No, we haven't any vacancies.
Well, that's that. You mind if we hang around a bit until the justice shows up?
Why, no.
Thanks.
Well, what's the good news?
Oh, bad, honey. The guy hasn't shown. It looks like we'll have to sleep standing. It's got me. A joint like this out in the middle of nowhere and doing more business than the Grand Central Railroad Station.
What'll I do with these?
Oh, just leave them there.
Yes,
Oh, what a spot. Is this better than chasing petty thieves through a department store, I ask?
Yes, it sure is.
Oh, starting to answer your own questions, huh?
Now, don't stop me. Oh, I'm full of romance. Must be this tavern. The fireplace. I feel so poetic. I could make love to a snowman.
If that justice of the peace doesn't show up, the chances are you'll have to.
Oh, dear.
You know, it is peaceful here and quiet. It's nice.
It came from Harrison's room. What happened?
The cards didn't lie. Come on, Jimmy.
Wait a minute, punk. You're liable to poke your face in where it doesn't belong. You hug your fire, I'll see what this is all about.
I'm through. I can't breathe. Oh, it's getting dark. I'm afraid to die.
Look at those marks on his throat.
That police dog must have done it.
They're teeth marks, all right.
What's going on here?
Don't exactly know. Heard a terrible moan from Mr. Harrison's room.
We'll take care of that killer.
Well?
Harrison's dead. Where are you going? To get my gun. That dog will never attack anyone else. I should have had that dog put out of the way a long time ago. He's a killer, part wolf.
Well, what do you think?
He hasn't showed up yet.
Who?
The justice of the peace.
No. I mean about the case.
I didn't come here to solve any murder mysteries. My object is marriage.
You better be careful of him.
Don't worry, I will.
You know, it might not be a bad idea to phone the coroner.
Yes, surely.
I'll do it for you, Mrs. Jameson.
Oh, will you please?
Gladly. Give me the coroner's office.
I knew this would happen.
Huh?
I warned Harrison. How did you know the dog was going to attack him?
I'll tell you something else. Everyone here is in the shadow of death. The same thing that happened to Harrison might happen to you. Or you. Or me.
Come on, sister, let us in on your secret.
I read it in the cards.
You mean you're a mind reader?
Oh, cut it out, honey. A mind reader reads minds.
You're letting yourself open for a wisecrack there, Jimmy.
You stop your clowning. This is a very serious situation. She reads it in the cards.
Personally, I think it's a lot of hooey.
And I'd suggest that you get over here as soon as possible. That's fine, thank you. Goodbye.
killed that dog.
Whether he did or not, I think we'd all better turn in.
But what about the coroner?
Well, I'll wait up for him. You folks had better get to bed.
Say, couldn't you put us up somewhere for the night?
Why, as soon as they take Mr. Harrison's body out, you could have his room.
Well, I don't think I could go for that.
I'll bunk with Bill. You and your husband can have my room.
Well, we're not married yet.
I have a large double bed, and if you don't mind, I'd be very glad to share it with you.
You can sleep with me. You've got yourself a bed partner, mister. Would you mind helping me upstairs with the bags? The large one goes to this gentleman's room, and the other one goes to the ladies.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm retiring. Good night.
Good night.
Pleasant dreams.
Mean pleasant nightmares, don't you?
When you come back down, fix the fire for the night.
Yes, sir.
You'd better stay up. Maybe you'll be able to help the coroner.
Oh.
I think I can take care of everything. If you're needed, I'll wake you up.
Good night.
Good night, darling.
Hi, dear.
Well, he got away from me, but we can set a trap for him in the morning.
That sounds like a very sensible idea. We've had enough excitement for one evening. Now let's go.
Has Wentworth shown up yet? No. Well, that's funny.
If the justice of the peace shows up, call me.
Oh, sure. Must have been something very important to detain him.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Which room are the girls in?
That one.
Did it scare you?
Will you please go to bed and stop playing?
Good night, dear. Oh.
I wonder if I'm making a mistake.
Well, he has a sense of humor, hasn't he?
Yes, sort of. But even with that handicap, he's the most popular man in the department.
The department?
Yes, Jimmy's a detective. And if I must say so myself, a mighty good one.
Too bad about Harrison. Did you know him? Well, slightly. How long have you been down here? Came down this afternoon. On a vacation? Yeah.
Is he working on a case here?
Yes, if you can consider me a case. You see, he wants to turn me over to the justice of the peace. It's sort of a light sentence.
And believe me, it's one jolt a girl can't be freed from on account of good behavior. No, of course not. Will you excuse me? I'll be back in a minute.
Certainly.
Well, I guess I'll turn in.
Hey, wait a minute. Twin beds in there in my room. Why don't you bunk in there with me?
Well, that's not a bad idea. Thanks, I will.
I thought you were going to bed.
I was. You'll excuse us, won't you?
Sure.
Now, what's wrong?
You know the boy who's sharing Bill's room?
Yes?
He's a detective.
No.
The girl told me. I'm sure we're not responsible for their being here. But I thought I ought to warn you. It's better to be on the safe side. It's Hughes!
What's that? Let's find out.
Wait a minute!
Stay in there, Margie. Let's find out what all this yelling's about.
He's dead. Killed just like Harrison.
It's a pity he didn't get that dog.
This is getting on my nerves.
We better lock all the windows so that animal can't get back in here.
I'll lock this one if you fellas take care of the rest of them on the ground floor.
Okay.
Oh, Mason, we're all doomed. I can sense it.
Oh, pull yourself together. Take care of her, will you, please?
This place is spooky.
Shut up!
Isn't it bad enough to have the tavern turned into a madhouse without you wailing all the time?
Take a look at the windows, will you?
Sure. How far does the coroner live from here?
Why, about 10 miles.
They should have been here by now.
Maybe I'd better call him again.
Supposing I call him this time. Hello? Hello?
Now what's wrong?
That's what I'm going to try and find out. Well, that's a clever dog. After he kills his victims, he cuts the telephone wires.
What? That's impossible.
You're telling me?
How do you figure it out?
Well, I haven't yet.
Of course, you're the logical man to solve this mystery.
Now, what do you mean by that, Crack?
Being a detective, you're naturally more familiar with murders. That is, if these were murders.
Oh, are you a policeman?
Well, I am an officer, but I'm traveling incognito.
I thought you came in a bus.
Shut up.
Say, how did you know I was a cop?
Your feet gave you away.
You're not doing so bad yourself there, partner. That's Margie! happened, honey?
The dog. He's trying to get into my room.
Oh, are you sure?
What do you mean, am I sure? Do you think I could get in this nervous condition all by myself?
I can't understand it.
I was practicing to be a dutiful wife.
Darling, will you please hush up? Come on. Are you all right? Yes.
What do you mean, yes? Look at me, I'm shaking like a leaf. Say, you seem sorry I wasn't bitten to death.
Margie, will you please hush? Come on.
What do you mean, come on?
I want to talk to you.
But that dog in there can't...
Don't worry, nothing's going to hurt you.
Oh, it was nice knowing you, gentlemen.
What do you think? Do I have to tell?
You know, that girl's troubled with hallucinations.
I don't think I'll wait any longer. Will you please make arrangements to have me driven back to town?
I'm sorry. We're having a car on the place. You'll have to wait for the morning bus.
Well, I don't believe there's a chance of any of us getting much sleep tonight. Suppose I make some coffee.
That's a grand idea, Mrs. Jameson.
And I second the motion.
All right. What makes you so sure that the dog I saw wasn't the one that killed those two men?
They were not killed by a dog.
Come on, break down. I hate mysteries. Why, I don't even eat hash.
Listen, you better sit down again.
I just got up.
You might as well sit down because what I'm going to tell you is going to knock you down anyway, so you just as well relax. See that?
Don't tell me you joined the Elks.
Oh. That's a dog's tooth. I found it in Hughes's room after he was killed. And get this, that's not the tooth of any live animal. There's no flesh around the end, and the enamel's worn off.
What in the world are you driving at?
The person that killed those two men used a set of false dog teeth.
Say, this is thrilling.
Boy, can I use this.
Sugar?
Harrison always liked coffee.
Oh, come on, Gloria. Snap out of it.
I wish I could.
You have nothing to worry about. All the windows are locked.
That's not going to do any good. It's closer than that. I can feel destruction near me.
Well, drink your coffee, my dear. I'm sure it will make you feel better.
Now, remember what I told you. The first thing we've got to do is to find a motive.
Well, I don't think it's up here.
Oh, you're impossible. Come on, 5 and 10 cent store detective.
This is certainly grand coffee, Mrs. Jameson.
Thank you.
How do you feel now?
All right.
Well, you're just in time. I hope you don't mind my inviting strangers to your party, Mrs. Jameson.
Why, not at all. Bert, bring 2 more cups.
Yes. Well, I see you've pulled yourself together.
Yes.
Yes, I was a little upset myself.
And how do you feel? Oh, never mind. I have a rough idea how you feel.
You can joke if you want to. Before this night is over, you'll wish you never came here.
Say, what do you think I'm having, a picnic?
Oh, thank you, Bert.
That must be Wentworth.
Maybe it's the justice of the peace.
Oh, thank heaven you're here.
We thought maybe you had an accident or something.
Glad to see you, Wentworth. Sorry if I'm late, Mason, but I left just as soon as I got your wire. You received a message from me? Why, yes. Something queer going on around here. We all received wires to meet you here.
That's right.
And they were signed Wentworth. It's a trick, Mason. It's a trick. Well, there's Harrison and Hughes. They're dead.
What?
Yes.
I knew this would happen.
What happened?
Where are you, Jimmy?
Here I am. It all in my hand. What's going on here? Must be a fuse burned out.
I hope you're right.
Oh, now what?
There's nothing to worry about. Much.
Oh, now don't tell me that's a canary.
You stay right here.
Jimmy! Jimmy!
Hello, boy. You want to get in where it's warm? Yes, but you want to help me find out who's blaming you for these killings. Huh? Let's see if I can find a piece of rope.
Ah, this is better.
Jimmy! Oh, Jimmy, if this is a gag, I'll break your neck.
Who is she?
Can't you fix these lights? This darkness is driving me mad.
It's little Jimmy Kelly, and I've caught the killer.
Oh, I could break your neck. Oh, I'm so glad to see you.
Say, how did you manage to get hold of him?
I found him out there by that shed. He's a wild baby, all right, but I don't think he'll cause us any more trouble now.
I'll say he won't.
Are you sure this is the dog we want?
Positively. I saw him in Harrison's room. You killer. This is the animal that killed Harrison and Hughes. Have you got a gun?
No.
Well, Hughes had one.
Don't go in there, Mr. Mason.
Why not?
He's dead.
Well, that is news.
He sure wants to get rid of this dog. But I can't understand why Jameson said he was part wolf.
I think I got the motive.
What is it?
Revenge.
Revenge of what and by whom?
Well, I didn't get that far, but... Huh?
What are you hawing me for?
Well, didn't you say something?
No.
Oh, I must have been hearing things.
You're beginning to get warnings, just like I did.
Oh, they must have paid their light bill.
You know, there's something that I'm going to train you to do after we get married.
What's that?
Keep quiet.
I guess Mason's having trouble finding that gun. I'll give him a hand.
Yeah, and hurry it up.
Something's happened to Mason.
Here. Hold that dog. Get that dog. He's dead, all right. And killed the same way as the others.
But that's impossible. The dog was in there, muzzled.
And it wasn't the dog.
How could it be?
You're right. These men were killed by a human who in some way used dog's teeth in order to throw the suspicion off of himself. I've known this for an hour. I suspected Mason as being the guilty person. I tried to trap him. I'll have to ask you all to line up in the next room.
What right have you to tell us what to do?
He's a detective. Or something.
Come on, line up in the next room.
And who are you?
I'm something, too.
You heard her. Now, I'll have to take charge. We all know this animal didn't kill anybody. Let him loose.
Well, this is terrible. I don't know what to do. Why, we may all be killed. Probably the killer's in this room right now.
Where's the nearest telephone around here?
The gas station, about 2 miles down the road.
I want you to phone as quickly as you can and have the police come here.
Yes, sir.
Hey, and bring the coroner along, too.
All right, folks. Line up. Let's do this thing systematically.
What's the idea?
If anybody's got any guns on them around here, I want to know where they are. You frisk the ladies.
Right.
But there hasn't been any gunplay?
No, there isn't going to be any. All right, fellas.
Don't you think it was a bad idea to send that man for the police?
I'll ask all the questions, my friend.
Come on, Pollyanna. And I hope you're not ticklish. Please, Mrs. Jameson. Come on, Pollyanna. My, you should reduce.
I'm sorry. I don't suppose you could get out of that chair.
I could if you would help me.
Surely. All right. You understand?
Certainly. I'm as anxious to have this murderer caught as you are. Maybe more so. I wouldn't have a chance to fight for my life.
There, Mr. Jameson, don't excite yourself. Now that we've exposed the killer's methods, maybe he won't strike again.
Let us hope not.
Where do you keep your guest register?
On the hotel desk.
Well, that's kind of natural. How am I doing, babe? Harrison's from Philadelphia, Hughes from Portland, Mason from Chicago, and Gloria Roloff from Mexico City.
Why did you tell me there was a copper here?
We didn't know it ourselves till a few minutes before you arrived.
We had no way of warning you.
It's all clear to me now. He's the one that sent us those wires.
That's possible. But it still doesn't account for the murders.
No. They're from all parts of the country.
Well, maybe it's a convention.
Come here, you three. Sit down. I want to ask you people a few questions.
Well, what's on your mind?
Tell me, how did it happen that 6 people, you and the 3 men that were murdered, got here at practically the same time?
Well, it might have been a coincidence.
That's right, but it wasn't. This isn't the tourist season. Matter of fact, there hasn't been a guest in this tavern for 2 weeks.
Now, just a minute. Are you trying to solve this mystery or pin something on us?
Both. I have a hunch that you and your party came here with one definite purpose. If you wouldn't mind telling me who suggested this place to you, we might be able to clear this whole situation up.
Well, I got a message from Harrison and this gentleman here.
I thought you only knew Harrison slightly.
That's my business.
Maybe so. It might interest you to know that whoever got you here with one idea in mind.
And what was that?
To kill you all.
I knew it. I knew it.
So, you see, gentlemen, the only way for you to help yourselves is to come clean.
We'll do anything we can to help you.
Why, certainly. Of course we will.
Now, gentlemen, that we understand each other, is there anyone you know who would want to put you out of the way? That is, individually, or shall we say as a gang?
No.
Take a look through the luggage, kid. Maybe you can find a clue. Mrs. Jameson,
Yes?
would you mind going with her, please?
Why, certainly not.
Let's go.
I'm not much on this detective business, but if it's true that somebody planned to get these people here to kill them, then there are only 3 people who can be considered suspects. And those are myself, my wife, and Bert.
Surely you have servants around this place.
Yes, we have 2 maids, but they left shortly after dinner.
How do you know they didn't come back?
Just a minute. What was your idea?
Oh, he could have done it. He could have even cut the telephone wires.
But I didn't.
Mr. Jameson didn't say that you did. He said that you could have.
But how do we know that Hughes wasn't killed until after this man went into his room?
Well, I could have done it too.
I was just getting round to that.
Perhaps it's in the closet. Yep. We'll soon find out if that gal brought any of her secrets with her.
Oh, I'm tired of all this. I'm leaving.
Oh, you're not. One of Mr. Jameson's 3 guesses might be right.
But I can clear myself easily enough. The bus driver can verify that
You're staying just the same.
Say, you could be the guy that's doing the dirty work. I've heard of phony detectives before.
Wait a minute. Now, let's try and get to the bottom of this. Would you folks mind telling me what racket you're in?
Chances are all we'll find is a deck of cards.
This is one time it won't do you any good not to talk.
Why, you...
Come on, let's get out of here.
It's locked. We can get out of one of the windows.
Well, let's hurry.
Well, we can't get out here.
There are no bars on the windows in Harrison's room.
Where is it?
Follow me.
We're doomed.
Shut the window.
We'll try it. Oh, we're caged like a bunch of rats.
Oh, I owe you some. Wait a minute, buddy. Now, hold it. Now, just a minute. We made a mistake. We shouldn't have done it. But your life is just as much danger as ours.
Listen to me, will you? The door's bolted, all the windows are barred. We're gonna die, all of us.
You gotta help us. Somebody's gotta help us.
Come on, buddy.
I'll see what I can do.
Oh, we've made enemies. Lots of them. We've been smuggling jewels across the border.
Oh, I see.
Hey, wait a minute.
Jewel thieves! Oh! Oh, why, look. Here's one as big as a hen's egg.
Boy, I'd like to be able to find the hen that could lay that egg. Well, at least we know what the racket is.
Can't you think of some person or persons that would want to get you out of the way?
How about that guy that accidentally fell off the truck about a year ago? You know he blamed us.
Oh, no, we took care of him.
Mrs. Jameson, I'd like to ask you a question.
Yes, what is it?
Did you build this place?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you ask?
Well, from what these people tell me, it was constructed for just such a situation as this.
Why, I don't understand.
Every window in this place is barred.
I can't believe that.
Oh, Jimmy.
What is it?
Come here a minute, will you?
I'll show you.
Jimmy!
Huh?
I want to talk to you.
What is it?
I've got a clue.
You have?
Uh-huh. They're jewel smugglers.
You're terrific. I'll still show you. There you are.
Why, I can't understand it. To see you.
Oh, please don't bother me. Can't you see I'm in enough trouble? From whom did you buy this place?
Why, we rent it from a Mr. Morgan. He's the owner.
Oh, Jimmy, look.
Oh, please, hush. What kind of a man is this Morgan?
Very odd. He wears large spectacles. He's an inventor, a scientist.
When did you see him last?
Well, that's strange, but we haven't seen him since the day we took the place. Neither he nor a representative have called to collect the rent.
Would you know where to reach him?
No, he said he'd get in touch with us.
Got another clue?
Yes.
Well, keep it. Do you know a man by the name of Morgan?
Morgan? Yes, I know several men by the name of Morgan. One of them was an inventor. We financed him.
Would there be any reason for this man wanting to kill you?
No. That is, if...
Jimmy, I must see you.
Well, take a good look.
This is important.
What's the big idea?
I think Jameson is the man we want.
For what?
Listen, Jimmy. I saw him get out of his chair and walk.
Oh, why didn't you tell me?
What do you think I've been trailing you around for? Exercise?
Oh, stop clowning. Are you sure you saw him walk?
Positive.
I always thought there was something phony about that guy. Where's his room?
Did you want to see me?
Why, yes. Mr. Jameson, I've been thinking over what you said about those three out there, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if you didn't come pretty close to hitting the nail on the head. I'm going to question them further, and I'd like to have you give me a hand. You could watch their reactions.
I'd be glad to help.
Now, let's get back to this Morgan fellow. How long is it since you've seen him?
Oh, about 6 months.
That was about the time you took this place, wasn't it, Mrs. Jameson?
Yes.
Did this Morgan fellow make any threats against you?
No, not exactly.
Mrs. Jameson, could I have a glass of water, please?
Why, certainly. I'll take these things out, too.
Did you find anything? Give. Here, something belongs to you.
It's the dog's head.
Where did you find that?
Don't you remember where you put it?
There must be some mistake. Oh, he can't be the killer.
That's what you think.
You mean you suspect me of these crimes?
Yes.
But I'm a helpless invalid. I can't even get out of this chair.
That's what we thought. But I saw you get out of that chair and walk.
Why did you kill Harrison, Hughes, and Mason?
Why do you want to kill us?
Release us from here. Let us out. Come on, confess.
Oh!
I'm the man you want. I killed him. I wanted to kill all of you, too.
Oh. You what?
I'm the murderer.
I can't believe it.
It's true. I thought I could get away with it. You see, I can walk. I've got strength in my hands, too. I put it on like this. And then I go for their throat.
Stop it,
Take it easy, not so fast.
I'm sorry now. I guess I was mad with hatred.
take me away. I'm your man.
Why did you do this?
You wouldn't understand.
Get that rope over there. We'll tie his hands up until the police come. Why did you commit these crimes?
Why? Well, what do you care? I've confessed, haven't I?
There's not much I can say, but I really feel sorry for you. Certainly is tough on Mrs. Jameson.
Yeah.
But I'm sure glad we caught him.
You've done a swell job, honey. I'm kind of proud of you.
Gee, it's nice to hear you say that, Jimmy.
I wonder who he's trying to cover up.
Who?
Jameson.
What are you talking about?
He's not guilty. If he was, he'd know why he committed those crimes, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I guess so.
Wait a minute.
Who are you covering up?
Nobody.
You mean he isn't the killer? Absolutely not.
The murderer is still at large. We cannot escape this death that is closing in on us.
Come clean, Jamison. Come on, clean. I can't tell.
You're all going to die. You haven't a chance. For 3 years, I've carefully planned this. There shall be no escape.
In a few minutes, we'll all be dead.
Where'd that voice come from?
From over there someplace.
It's the work of a maniac.
Uh-oh.
Now what?
We've got to work fast. It leads down in the cellar.
Well, if you're going down there, we better take this light. It was the phonograph record we heard.
A pretty clever gag at that. Hey, this is just a trick to get us down here. See if that upstairs door is locked.
I've a few words to say to you, and you'll listen to me. You'd better listen too, Wentworth. Morgan?
But you can't kill me!
I spent a lifetime perfecting an invention that should have made me rich. You stole it from me. You've stolen my very life away. Oh, but we'll do anything to make matters right. It's too late. Can you give me back my life?
Wait a minute. What I can't understand is, why is Jameson trying to cover you up?
What are you talking about?
He confessed he killed those 3 men.
What 3 men?
Why, Harrison, Mason, and Hughes.
Are they dead?
Didn't you know that?
No.
Then you're in a spot, too.
What do you mean?
Never mind that. How did you get in here?
Through that window. Then we can get out that way.
us instead of torturing us this way.
There shall be no escape for you now. You must die.
Where's Mrs. Jameson?
The last time I saw her was when I followed her down here.
You followed her?
Yeah, I had a hunch.
Well, she isn't here now.
Well, didn't she come up to the lobby before I did?
Did any of you see her? No, I didn't. Then she's between here and the lobby.
Will someone kindly tell me what's going on around here? Look!
Say your prayers. Your time on this earth is limited to seconds. All of you must die. In this life that you are about to leave, the innocent must suffer. Yes, just like I have suffered.
You're insane.
If I am, Wentworth and his crowd have made me so. You didn't think you'd have to answer to me, did you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You wouldn't. You're very clever, but you're not as resourceful as a person fired with vengeance. The desire to right a great wrong.
Give us a chance, Mrs. Jameson.
Give you a chance. You didn't give Helen Armstrong a chance, did you?
Helen Armstrong? What has she got to do with your murdering us in cold blood?
Everything. You framed an innocent young girl to smuggle jewels across the border. And then, rather than face the disgrace of going to prison, she killed herself. From that day, I determined that you were all under sentence of death. And now, I'm ready to carry out your execution. Helen Armstrong was my sister. When my husband first realized I'd used the dog's teeth to kill, he utilized almost superhuman strength to protect me. He even confessed to my crimes, knowing it was my love for Helen that brought you all here. I want you to look carefully in the ceiling. There you'll see a little glass bomb. All I have to do is to pull this cord. It will drop among you. The panel will close. And you'll be caught like rats in a trap. When you are all dead, I will burn the tavern and destroy all evidence.
Not all, Mrs. Jameson.
I wonder what this means. I don't know. It wasn't this way when I left.
Yeah? Here's a few customers for you. Book her for murder. They're smugglers. Here's a grip full of evidence.
I'm sorry it took me so long, but...
Right this way, Coroner.
Pardon me, but I'm the Justice of the Peace.
Why, how are you, Justice? Glad to see you.
I thought you told me to get a Justice of the Peace.
If I'm not greatly mistaken, we did want to see this gentleman.
Why, sure, that's what we came here for. Step into the church. Do your stuff, Justice.
Do you take this woman to be your lawful wife?
I do.
You take this man to be your
She
lawful...
does.
I then declare you
That's
a man
done.
and wife.